Citizens of San Diego Comic-Con 2017, it is I, Prince Voltron, and rightful heir to the Golden Throne. I beseech you to settle down, quiet your incessant talking, and silence your phones. Otherwise, my father's witch will put you in airplane mode for time eternal. Do not fret. Your time for questions will come, so long as the moderator keeps everything moving. No pressure. In the meantime, please enjoy the premiere episode of Voltron. Changing of the Guard. Rapid Side.
And thank you so much for being here for the Voltron Legendary Defender panel. And I can talk about Voltron all day, but you don't want to hear me talk about it. So let's bring up 4 people who are very integral to the Voltron process. First of all, executive producer Joaquin Dos Santos. Next, co-executive producer Lauren Montgomery. She plays Pidge, Bex Taylor Clark. And he plays Hunt Tyler to me. All right, have a seat, everybody. So what's it like watching an episode like this with a giant room full of people screaming?
I mean, we were standing off to the side there. I don't know if anybody knows, but I mean, we were, at each sound you guys make, I get crazy chills, like goosebumps all over the place. So yeah, I mean, it's the most exciting thing in the world.
So yeah, you saw it up there. We can finally say that new episodes of Voltron will be on Netflix August 4th. So, what can we look forward to in season 3?
Lotor. Sort of carry that through. I mean, Lotor's our big reveal, even though maybe he was slightly revealed unintentionally a little earlier. I think what's great about this episode in particular is that it sort of teases a little something for every character, and you see, Paige continuing her search for her family.
Paul continuing his amazing cooking skills.
Growing as a chef every day.
How many episodes are we going to see in season 3?
So we are going to see 7 episodes in season 3. It's a smaller drop, but there is an upside to this. The next drop will be in October.
What?
I mean, maybe we can elaborate what the sort of idea is behind that.
I think the idea is to get you guys more Voltron more often so that you don't have to wait quite so long in between each drop. And we'll be dropping it in smaller doses, but you'll get to see it
more often.
It'll carry you through the dark times.
You can always come back for your fix. Okay, so let's get right into it. Let's start with the loss of Shiro. Yeah, real sad. Conspiracy. So especially Keith, but the whole team is really struggling with his absence. What's in store for them while they work to rebuild the team?
I think the interesting thing is that there's loss on both sides. So I think the Power are dealing with sort of reconstructing their team, and so is Voltron. And so, obviously Keith takes it the hardest, but I think everybody's genuinely affected by it.
Yeah, I think Shiro was kind of the glue that held that team together. As long as he was there, you knew things were going to be okay. Shiro was always going to have a plan. And now that you've taken that out of the equation, you have these 4 paladins left with no real leader figure to look at. And so they're kind of struggling with that. And they know they need to find someone to continue on with Voltron, but they just don't know exactly where to look.
Pidge continuing the quest for her family in this episode. Bex, what can you tell us about playing that character and continuing the search in season 3?
Well, it's really fun to have, like, Pitch has a drive, such a deep, deep love for her family, and she's just determined to find them, and she keeps getting closer and closer. So it's been fun to kind of play that throughout the series of, like, the excitement as she finds something new, and then the devastation as something falls apart, or as it doesn't pan out, or when it does. But yeah, so it's she's got more avenues to explore through this season, which I'm excited about.
And visual evidence too, which is that's more than she's
and Corinne can help.
Yeah, I mean, just hearing the crowd react to like the sight of Matt on the screen, that's exciting for us, because it means, you know, as an actor, you're doing your job and sort of selling the emotion of all that, but the story's playing out, and you guys genuinely care about the whereabouts of these characters that probably had, you know.
Did I hear you guys gasp? I thought I heard a gasp.
Gasp, yeah. He's a character that we've really not seen outside of still pictures or video footage, and yet so many people care about him so much.
I think that's partly because of how much you make Paige love her family.
Or how much you make Paige
Both. You can both pat each other on the back.
Tyler, it's really great to see Hunk in this episode kind of bring everybody together through food. I love that he's kind of this positive force on the team, and certainly kind of seems to be trying to keep the peace with everything going on. What's in store for Hunk this season?
Well, I think in the absence of Shiro, I think Hunk is planning on converting the remaining 4 lions into like space food trucks. And just, you know, go around to planets in need, or just, you know, hungry denizens around the universe, and just provide food. And just in the meantime, you know, we still have goals and plans. Still got some things to take care of, obviously. But, you know, in all seriousness, there's the one thing I will say about the food and the levity that Hunk brings, it's juxtaposed very, very starkly against how dark this season gets, I think. So the levity and the zany, I'll use the word zaniness of this season. There's some episodes that are so wacky and weird and one-off because we have to counterbalance how intense this season gets. So Hunk really has, I think, an integral part of bringing the levity. And I'm glad to do so.
Speaking of zany, is there an episode that rivals Space Mall this year?
Yeah, Space Mall, yeah, I would say for sure. Space Mall is very special to our hearts, though. Carlton Ecker! By the way, Carlton Ecker, the official Carlton Ecker, Benjamin Carlton Ecker, is here.
The real Carlton Ecker is here.
There he is!
That's the real deal, Holyfield right there. Hey, I also just wanted to say that Hunk in this episode definitely showed his prowess as a fighter now in piloting.
Yeah, there's some pretty cool maneuvering going on these days with Hunk. He's found his legs. He's a leg.
I over to Tyler during the corkscrew part and was like, that's awesome.
That's right. And
I got chills on that, for real. I got goosebumps and chills when I saw that. I was like, yes, he's arrived. Confident Hunk.
Let's talk a little bit about the Blade of Marmora real fast. They're obviously working to help build the coalition in the absence of Voltron, but we saw that some of the people that they're freeing are not trusting of them at all. What was your kind of thought process behind their storyline this season?
I mean, they're going through a similar thing that Laura went through pretty early on, right?
Yeah, I think when you've been dominated by like a certain, we have this one alien race that's been out dominating the universe. Not everyone knows that there are people within that race that don't believe that same
ideology.
Yeah, so they just assume every follower person is going to act in that way. So they do have a prejudice, and they will have to go through that same journey that Laura went through, of realizing, hey, even Laura know that that's bad.
And it adds a dynamic where I think, you know, we could have very clear-cut good guys and bad guys, and I think the good thing about our universe is that there's a big gray area where people are still trying to figure things out.
And they're super awesome.
They are. They're space ninjas, guys. I mean, how can you not like space ninjas?
And I guess let's talk about Lotor. Let's do it. People have been so excited to see Lotor since the fake cow footage at WonderCon. Right? I remember that. So he's obviously got a different approach to leading than Zarkon did. What about the creation of his character can you tell us?
I mean, I think that was something we talked about pretty early on. Zarkon was like, for all intents and purposes, just an evil dude. I think hopefully we'll get to explore more of what made Zarkon Zarkon, but Lotor has a completely different approach than Zarkon had.
Yeah, when you're setting up a show, you really need to make sure that your villain is a villain. And that was, Zarkon was our approach to that. This is our villain, he's clearly a bad guy. Maybe later we can break into his character a little more, figure out what makes him tick. But we established bad guy.
Yeah.
Lotor, we've got our heels under us, with our feet under us, we're going with this show. You know what it's about now, and so now we can play with our villains a little more, and they don't have to be 100% bad from day one. And that's really what Lotor is. He's still not a good guy, but he's definitely got a different approach from what Zarkon does.
The best bad guys are bad guys that you feel for, right?
Yeah.
Always the bad guys
And
that
the ones
you
where
can
you
find a
can
little bit of
kind
yourself in.
of see where they're coming from. If they have a plan that's not necessarily the worst plan, they're just going about it in a really bad way.
Right.
And you got AJ to play him, and he's just...
We gotta talk about that guy.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys are all curious.
Who is the voice of Lotor?
AJ Locascio, who is an absolute genius,
Voice actor.
handsome devil, who couldn't be more excited that we're actually talking about Lotor because he's had to keep that secret on all his feeds.
And that is not even a real accent. He's just amazing at accents.
Yeah. And also played, I think, Marty McFly in Cell Game.
He's been in The Croods. I don't know what the role is.
Yeah. But I mean, he's amazing. He's super versatile and
the nicest guy ever.
nice guy in the world.
That's
I
what we want
follow
from
him on all of his.
It is what you want from the
love
fans.
his Twitter. I'd love to see him just get 1 million followers.
Please,
Yeah, do it right now.
Content too,
Right now,
so
let's
that's a
take
million
5
people
minutes.
follow him.
I kind of want to, we probably don't want to give anything away, but I would just want to mention Lotor's like Justice League of bad guy friends. Super awesome. Or I'm assuming we're going to learn, first of all, their names, but second of all, like what they do this season.
Yes, I mean, we can't say that they're his confidants, they're his sort of top generals, and I think moving from, what you've seen of the Galra Empire before, this is a much heavier female representation within the Galra ranks.
Yeah, so Lotor being like the open-minded guy that he is, I think he just clearly you can see his generals are not even full Galra, they're half-breeds. And so he's not quite going down that very staunch, like, the old way is the only way road that his father went down. He's open-minded. He's looking for the best people to do the job, and he found these 4 women that really kind of fit his way of going about things.
I think, too, he's like, like if you watch a film like Gladiator, when you really think about it, Maximus was, like, he was the hero of that story, but his ideology, when you really think about like the Roman Empire, he's kind of a jerk. So I think Lotor sort of falls into that same-ish territory where I kind of agree with what he said. I understand his methods, like we were talking about up here, but the Galra is still very much the Roman Empire,
And if you can have somebody on your team who can turn invisible, that's a great,
Yes.
great one to have. All right, so we're gonna get some fan Q&A here in a bit, so line up for that. But before that, I want to get to, as everyone stands up, we got some announcements. So all of you here will receive a SDCC exclusive poster created by the Voltron crew. Put that up. There you guys have
Or not.
There it is.
So you guys can connect that one with the previous one that was released, and it's sort of...
What was that? Oh, New York.
Is that in New York? Yeah, if anybody was in New York,
Yeah.
guys.
Sorry, guys.
Speaking of art, can I really quickly commission some fan art of, Lotor as a Roman general? I need this now.
Can I showcase some fan art that I'm wearing right now?
Yeah.
I'll get this on the screen. This girl, Alexandria, has made these original Voltron shoes.
There we go.
They're hand painted. You should follow her. I'm going to make sure I got the right information here. Her name is Alexandra Lee, and she's at Art and Alexandra. At Art and Alexandra. Anyway, those are people.
I mean, the amount of art that the fandom creates is just astounding, and the amount of high-quality art, the amount of art that oftentimes looks better than our silly scribbles, it's insane. I mean, you guys are the greatest of all time, for sure.
Best fans ever.
All right, so you guys, on top of that cool poster, you will also receive a copy of The Rise of Voltron, a new chapter book from Simon & Schuster, hard to say. Also, since you're here, which you are, you must go and stop by Hunk's Food Goo Replication Station. It's at Petco Interactive Zone. You get some free food goo daily through Sunday.
He's slanging some goo. And I'll get some.
The team up here will be at Fandom Fest, also in the Petco Interactive Zone, at 2 p.m. for an Voltron cosplay. Wow. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And through Toys R Us, Playmates has released the highly demanded combinable die-cast lines. They are available at the Entertainment Earth booth and in Toys R Us stores this fall. That's pretty dope. Seasons 1 and 2 of Voltron are going to be available for download on a number of stores on July 24th, including iTunes.
Yes.
Lion Forge Comics is giving away Black Lion masks and posters at their booth throughout the con. Be sure to stop by and pick one up, and a copy of Voltron Legendary Defender Series 1 if you haven't already. And you can also check out some very cool Voltron motion comics available on the DreamWorks TV YouTube channel. Check your local listing. All right, so questions. Who's got a question? Yeah.
Hi. So when the New York Comic Con was wrapped up, there were a lot of names and numbers that correlated to them, and the whole family dog was Gunther. And then he changed it to Baby. Why did that happen?
It actually happened because we have a studio dog at Soundworks, which is where we record our audio.
Yeah.
And that dog's name is Bebe, and she was a magnificent dog, and she unfortunately contracted bone cancer and passed away. And since our original file name for the dog was Gunther, but since the name had never been said in the show, it was still kind of open
to interpretation.
So we, in honor of Bebe, we named the pitch cat dog Bebe.
Let's pour a little out for Bebe. We love Bebe.
Love it.
Hi, with Shiro gone and Keith more isolated from the team now, and we saw in season 2, Lance is insecure and unsure of his place on the team. How do each of you see the team's dynamic currently and going forward into the future?
I think that's the most interesting thing, sort of moving forward. Who's really going to rise to the occasion, and are they going to need to look to outside help for that leadership role?
Yeah, it's obviously the team dynamic now is a bit of a mess.
Okay.
And really that's kind of the fun of storytelling, is you build something up and then you tear it down and then you build it up again. We have strong contenders even within the team. Allura is an amazing person, but even she isn't full, lion leadership.
Right. And Keith was part of the jerk store in this episode.
Yeah, right? Everyone on our team kind of has things that they're not as fully evolved into a leader as Shiro is, but they need to get there. Someone needs to get there, or they need to come together as a team to be a cohesive unit that creates that leadership.
They could also just do voice, auditions like The Voice.
Yes, auditions.
I think it's important to note too that it's what do we call it, Space Dad? So his kids are shook, you know what I mean? It's going to take a long time for us to sort of figure out what to do without Daddy. So don't expect that anytime soon.
Wow, spoken truly.
We're all freaking out, man, just like you guys.
Thank you. Hi, my question's for Joaquin and Lauren. Could you talk a little bit about your career trajectory and how you got to work on a show like Voltron, and maybe give any advice for someone who might want to be on the other side of the table one day?
I think just, again, we sort of grew up loving this medium, we grew up with very much sort of the Saturday morning cartoon influence, and then after school cartoon influence. And I think it's just part of our DNA, to be honest with you. So I think if you're passionate about something, if you truly believe you have it within you, it's going to happen, in one way or another. I think you just have to, it's cliche and all that, but don't stop. Don't stop trying.
And there's multiple different paths to get ultimately where we've been. Some people go in and pitch a show and get it off the bat. Most people need to work hard and work their way up and start at the bottom. And just don't be afraid to start anywhere or to take any avenue. Even just do something for yourself. We have multiple crew members who just do their own thing on the side. They make their own comic, they do whatever. I know one lady in animation who pitched a show around multiple places. Her name is Brianne Drewhart. I don't know if anyone knows of Brianne, but she does a comic called RBG. And she pitched it everywhere and nobody wanted it. And then she just said, you know what, I'm going to make it for myself. She did an online comic, and now everybody wants it. And so I think she's at Nickelodeon now, possibly developing that or something else. But there's just so many different avenues to do it. And just don't allow what other people tell you to dissuade you if you truly believe in something.
I will say one more caveat to that is don't be afraid to work for somebody else either. So the counterpoint to that is there are absolutely those like sort of Cinderella stories where you pitch something and it gets made, but we came up through the system. We worked under other people and learned the methods for years and years and years before we got our shot. So that, I think the hard work put in there also is
It would prepare us for ultimately making this show. If we had made this show with none of that under our belts, we'd see a really different show.
Yeah.
It would be a little strange.
We're haggard, but we'd be like way haggard.
Can I add one more thing too, just because I'm currently trying to pitch a show right now, and it's one of the most disheartening, discouraging things I've ever been through. Don't worry about that. That's part of it. I think you just have to lean into that and just know that nobody wants to just do anything to help you. Nobody wants to make it easy for you, so you just have to keep banging on doors and just believe in what you're trying to make.
That's it.
Great question. Next.
Hi. It's actually a fun question.
Oh.
I was wondering, because we've been shown that Lance comes from a big family, and I wanted to know if he was the middle, youngest, or oldest child.
He's somewhere in the middle.
I think he's one of the younger. If he's not
What we
the
got?
youngest.
Is he?
He's got
his little brother for
It's
sure.
a big
He's little brother.
family. I think he's the youngest. He's got like a sister or brother who is old enough to have their own kids, so he's got younger nieces and nephews. So
I always see the lineup, so I see it, and there's like these two little kids.
But he's been the caretaker of nieces and nephews, so he's a well-rounded guy. He's not just a spoiled baby.
He's a little
He's
spoiled.
a little bit of the baby of his family.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. We have time for maybe one more.
Hi, so I know that the ethnicities of the other paladins have been revealed, but we don't know Keith's, and besides Gara, what's it?
Huh? Sorry, we didn't hear it. Yeah, I mean, we got stuff that we're holding on to for you guys.
Okay, actually one more.
Hi, I wanted to ask if Hunk's real name is Hunk or if it's a nickname.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe I've never even considered that. Yeah. Let's make one up right now. What's Hunk's real name? Let's do it.
Yoshi!
Maybe we should ask these guys first. Did you guys ever have any?
We're incredibly comfortable with Hunk for now.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think Pidge is the only one that we really. There, wow. So that's what Gordon Ramsay did after Hell's Kitchen. I see. There, his name's Gordon Ramsay.
But it's spelled like a J. It's a hard J.
And he calls everybody donkeys. You donkey! It's Hunk.
It's Hunk, yeah.
Name is Hunk.
All right, so before we go, there's something else we have to show you. And Laura can tee that up for us.
Oh, so we've got a little bit of a teaser for you of the upcoming season, just to give you a taste of what you're going to see.
episodes of Voltron will hit August 4th on Netflix. Big hand for Joaquin Dos Santos.